As OBJ is rumored to make his return, he's been in the headlines a lot, this time for refusing to wear his seatbelt on a plane. He responded to the controversy in a long Twitter thread. What did he have to say? The incident took place a few months ago, but Odell Beckham Jr. only recently responded to it. The flight crew had to escort him off the plane after he seemed to be in and out of consciousness, while they were trying to convince him to put a seatbelt on. After months of silence, he talked about the situation. What better way than a string of tweets? He started off by saying that he can't possibly address anything in this world, and went on to talk more about his side of how things went down. OBJ also made sure to let everyone know that he's not appreciative of the fact that everybody has an opinion of the situation. The whole situation is very exhausting for the receiver. He also went on to talk about how only he knows what's true and what's not. But that's not all. He also talked about his own drama. Odell Beckham Jr. claimed that he found himself in the middle of drama, even when he's minding his own business. Nobody could possibly forget the drama surrounding his free agency, which Beckham Jr. himself called a frenzy. He maintained throughout that he tried to stay out of everyone's way. He also went on to say that he's been quiet chillin' since the very beginning, and it's insane to think about, considering all the stories that came out during that time. Odell Beckham Jr. has had a roller coaster of a few months, but in the tweets that came out, he said that all he wanted was to enjoy being a father and the time he has with his family. OBJ was really upset after the release of the footage from the plane, and he let everyone know it, but he wasn't all that direct about it. He implied it gently. The Pro Bowler said that the hardest thing for him, even after all these years of playing football, is when people play with his name. This in particular was really upsetting for Beckham because of the way people were trolling him after the videos came out. The football player also said that people shouldn't be surprised if they press his buttons and get negative energy back from him. Even though he's controversial, you have to agree with the point he's making. There's a certain way to deal with these situations, and sometimes NFL fans and commentators take it too far. OBJ had a lot to get off of his chest. He really wanted people to know that the people close to him know him very well, and that's all that matters to him. He said that he doesn't care about what everyone else has to say about him because of the same reason. At the same time, though, he let us know that he'll respond to the negative energy with the same energy. It seems like he's not as unbothered as he claims to be. If you thought that was all for the tweets, you're wrong. He even went on to imply the video was edited. But what did OBJ have to say? As I just mentioned a few minutes ago, the video of OBJ refusing to put on his seatbelt was made public only recently. Once everyone had seen it, OBJ talked about many things in detail. Some of them were just about people's attitudes generally, but one of them was a direct attack on people who watched it. He said that we live in a funny world because anybody can edit or cut up a video to look how they want it. It doesn't matter whether it's bad or good. He said that this was his least favorite thing in the world, second only to people who have no clue what they're talking about. If you haven't seen the video already, it's pretty wild. Let's get into all the details of it all. The police were the body that actually released the video. It's just regular body cam footage, part of normal protocol. Of course, when a passenger on an aircraft is uncooperative, it causes problems for everyone on board. One person confronted OBJ about his actions, and he seemed to be completely nonchalant about it. The football player is seen calling a man ugly and telling him to enjoy the cheese board in the video. It's crazy to think that all of this commotion was happening just because of a seatbelt. Maybe that's what happens when you're recovering from a long injury. You start to take it out on the world. Speaking of injuries, let's talk more about the aftermath of Odell Beckham Jr.'s injury. During the Rams Super Bowl win at the beginning of 2022, Beckham suffered an ACL tear. Despite Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, saying that Beckham was close to signing with his team, Beckham is still a free agent. One can only wonder wonder why that is. The wide receiver seems to be enjoying his time off with his family, as he said in his tweets. He also likes to get kicked off of planes though, it seems. Of course, you can argue that the plane thing wasn't intentional, especially after the testimonials of the police officer. What did he say? The Miami-Dade police officer, Luis Sierra, said that they had no choice but to remove the NFL player from the plane after he just stopped responding to requests to put on his seatbelt. In fact, everyone thought he was unconscious or something. If you're wondering why the police got involved, here's why. The staff and everyone else thought he was seriously ill and that he would only get worse throughout the 5-hour flight. Apparently, he was also drifting in and out of consciousness as everyone tried to wake him up. Finally, a representative of American Airlines was able to confirm that flight 1228 from Miami to Los Angeles was delayed and had to return to the gate before it even took off. They weren't afraid to let everyone know that this happened because someone on the flight wasn't listening to the crew member's instructions. That's probably an example for anyone else who's thinking of trying the same thing. The crew members, along with the rest of the passengers, were pretty upset about this whole scene, which was caused because of a seemingly minor reason. Carlos Gauna, a business class passenger on the flight, claimed to have spotted Beckham before boarding the plane and later recorded him on his phone. He even spoke to a news outlet about what happened. Let's get into what he said. Carlos Gauna, a business class passenger on the flight, claimed to have spotted Beckham before boarding the plane. He even recorded the whole scene on his smartphone. Gauna went on to say that Beckham Jr., he claimed, had a first-class seat. According to this passenger, he just walked quietly out of the flight as the police escorted him and guided the way. Carlos Gauna also added that the flight was full and everyone was pretty annoyed. You could hear people grumbling as this whole thing was going down. Before Beckham was taken away by police, according to Gauna, paramedics boarded the plane when an ambulance showed up and spoke with him. The flight then took off for Los Angeles, where Gauna spoke with the Associated Press before the other passengers reboarded. Even though Odell Beckham Jr. had a lot to say in the tweets he recently posted, right after this incident happened, he took to Twitter. He had something very shocking to say. The wide receiver tweeted that, "Never in my life have I experienced what just happened to me," along with the "I've seen it all." He seemed pretty pressed about how the whole situation panned out. After all this went down, the NFL star, according to police, was taken to the non-secure part of the terminal, where he made alternate arrangements. Overall, this whole OBJ situation is pretty wild. This might even affect his chances of getting signed to the team he wants. See you in the next video.